Hey, deserving listeners, it's time to go back in time and watch Corey and Evelin. I'm curious to see what we're going to find. Let's watch.
Something doesn't work out, we're still young people that can keep moving with their lives.
You're hoping that it will work out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is
I mean,
not
you can never
comforting.
know anything for sure. Right?
I'm going down there.
Yeah, so I understand both sides here. For Corey, he's giving up his whole life and moving to Ecuador. And he just heard from Evelin that she hopes that things will work out, meaning that Evelin thinks there's at least a percentage chance that things won't work out. And for Corey, that freaks him out. He's thinking, wait, there's a question mark here, because if I'm giving up everything and I'm moving down there, then and I'm going to marry you and, I don't want this to, I don't want to go into a situation where you're not 100% sure of this. Now, I think what Evelin is saying, which I also understand, is that she's totally into Corey and wants to be with him and loves him, but you can never know. They've only been together for a certain amount of time. And even if you've been together for 25 years, you just never know. You just, things happen. And the longer you're together, the better you are, depending on the relationship. But if the relationship went well for 25 years, then the chance of it going well for another 25 is pretty high. But they're in the beginning of the relationship. So, I understand both sides. Now, if you're Corey, maybe something to say here, I'm guessing, is when you say you hope things work out, are you saying you aren't 100% about me? Or you're just wondering if something will go wrong? Because what I'm guessing is that for Evelin, she's 100% about Corey, or at least 99%. But she's just unsure if he's going to like living there, or if he's going to really learn Spanish, or if he's going to integrate well into the community. So I'm guessing that's where she's at, and I'm guessing that would reassure him a little bit, because he has, I'm guessing, the same concerns, or at least he should.
For good, and you're telling me that you're hoping it's going to work out, Evelin? Come on here.
I don't promise you anything until you come here and try.
And that's why I'm going down there. But I would hope that you have your mind made up.
The other thing is that I understand, which it seems, is for Evelin to be like, well, I don't know. I mean, you could come down here and be an a-hole, and I don't want to be with you anymore. So I hope things work out, and I think things will, but I can't know until you get down here. That's completely rational, right? But I also understand Corey might be a little hurt by that. We're starting to see a dynamic, I don't know, but there's been little signs of Corey is either more into this relationship than Evelin is, or Corey is more of an anxious, preoccupied, attached individual, and Evelin is more of an avoidant person. I don't know. There does seem to be a pursuer-distancer thing going on. Let's see if we can find more evidence of that.
I'm really hoping that she changes her mind about that once I move down there. You do realize I'm sacrificing a lot here, and
What do you want me to do? You want me to put some candles behind your feet? Because you're sane by coming here? You don't have to if you don't want to. Easy like that.
I can't just stay at this point.
Yeah, you hear it in their discussion. For him, he wants some appreciation of the sacrifices that he's making, which is fine. You don't have to be a jerk face about it. You can probably communicate it a little bit more non-accusatory. Just say, hey, I'm really vulnerable right now, and I guess I'm just looking for some appreciation for the sacrifices that I'm making for you in our relationship. And from her standpoint, she's like, what do you want me to do? Make you into a saint? Look, come down if you want, and if you don't want to, then don't. So is that an indication that Evelin isn't that into the relationship or into Corey? Or is it just her style of attaching? Or is it a rational approach given how new their relationship is? Maybe we'll find out.
Evelin and living in Ecuador. I was looking for a little bit of more reassurance from Evelin, and that kind of is upsetting because I can't stay in Ecuador if we don't get married before the 90 days is up. It's very scary, especially if she's seeming on the fence about things. It's really not cool. Well,
so you hear that, though, in his language. I'm not sure what he means by that. He is saying, she seems like she's on the fence, which is not cool. is he saying it's uncool of her to be on the fence, or is he saying it's uncool because it's kind of a crappy situation for me? If it's the first one, that is concerning. That is an attitude of entitlement. It's an attitude of forcing your relationship on someone else. It's a anxious attachment approach sometimes. I don't know. On the other hand, if it's a second one, I totally get it. He's like, I'm in love with her, I want to be with her, and I'm getting some indications that she might be on the fence about us. That doesn't feel very good. I don't know which one it is. Maybe we'll find out.
Maybe we can talk in a little bit or later.
Yes. But I'm really tired, so if I don't respond, I'll be asleep.
Another indication, who knows? I'm just extrapolating on very little information, as I always do. They're signing off. She's like, I'm tired, and if you call back, I will be asleep. So that's a hint that they've had other communication where she has been guilt-tripped, or he's gotten angry at her for not being available, and so she's heading that off of the past by saying, by the way, I'm going to be asleep, so don't expect me to respond, which is further indication of pursuer distancer, potentially preoccupied avoidant. Perhaps she's into her, she's not really into him, or just different ways of communicating. I don't know. Let's continue watching.
Hello. Hi, beautiful. I'm here. Where are you? Are you upstairs? Or I'm downstairs right now at the exit.
I'm in Ecuador.
You're still in Ingabao?
Yes.
Why are you still in Ingabao?
Sorry, but you can take the bus.
Ouch. So, more evidence that they have something different about their relationships. There's either a difference in pursuer distancer and attachment style, or in motivation to be in this relationship. So he lands, and he's beginning the rest of his life living in Ecuador, and he expects her to pick him up at the airport. Now, maybe something happened, and for her, she wanted to be there but couldn't. That makes, things happen, but at least the way they're presenting it, she's like, well, I'm sorry, I'm not there. You could take the bus, as if it's not a big deal. And of course, it is a big deal for him. And it would make sense that it would be a big deal for the two of them when he lands in Ecuador. Anyway, so I don't know what's happening. Let's find out.
I don't even know where to begin.
You're a big man, and you can call me all the way here.
Interesting. I was wondering if that was a factor, and maybe the main reason why she's doing this. She has said that she didn't like it when he came down to Ecuador last time because he doesn't speak Spanish, and he was very much always with her. I don't know if she used the word clingy, but it was in that vein. And he was, completely dependent on her because he doesn't know his way around, can't communicate with anyone. And she has this narrative, I didn't show the clips, where she wants him to take care of her, not only financially, but also socially. And she's worried that he's going to come down, not learn Spanish, and be, very dependent on her. This is starting to look like there's a dynamic of attachment style difference or insecurity in one or both of them, where for him, not only in the big picture he is dependent, but also maybe in the ongoing emotional life between the two of them. I haven't seen that, but she seems to indicate that she doesn't like him to be dependent on her. And we could imagine, given their dynamic up until this point, that he might have dependency or preoccupied attachment, clingy, demanding, really wanting a lot of reassurance. There's nothing wrong with that for sure, but if you have a good dose of preoccupation, it can be off-putting to another person that you can't do things independently at times. Particularly if you, like the Evelins of the world, I don't know, total speculation, are more avoidant, and more when things are tense, you tend to avoid, and you want your own space, and you don't like people depending on you. And so I don't know if we're seeing that dynamic, but she is saying, maybe as a test or as a message, which I don't think, if that is the case, that's not very cool. You can certainly say, hey, I'd like you to not be dependent. To just force him in the situation, not very cool. So it's possible that she's saying, look, as a test or as a lesson to be learned or as a message to him, I'm purposely not going to pick him up from the airport because I want him to be independent. I want him to be strong like a man and protect me and be able to move around in the world. Okay, but if I don't know what his Spanish fluency is, but if it's not very good, this is a terrifying situation. If you've ever landed in another country or an area that you don't speak the language, and you have to get out of the airport. I mean, even when you speak the language, getting out of an airport that you're not familiar with can be terrifying. So let's see how he manages.
Yeah, the bus station, that's sketchy. You know how dangerous that is? What if something happens?
It's fine. It's not rocket science to get all the way in.
All right, and I'll see you in however long it takes me to get there, I guess.
And of course, the emotional side of this is that he's hurt. I mean, it looks like she doesn't love him enough to put in the effort to go to the airport for him, or that she dislikes him to the point where she just ditches him at an airport. So I'm a little worried about their relationship dynamic at this point.
I really don't even know.
Okay. That's fine.
Now, let's see how he deals with this, because if he's very preoccupied, which I have no idea if he's even preoccupied at all, attachment, then this will be exaggerated. It should hurt him, I think. If we're being presented with the reality of the situation, he should be hurt by this. This is a hurtful thing to have happen. I mean, you do this to anyone. You do this to a friend. Your friend lands and you're like, oh, sorry, I didn't have time, or, can you just take the bus? That would hurt. But your fiancé or someone that's coming to your country to be with you in this very huge sacrificial romantic gesture, to just ditch that person at the airport, it should hurt him. So how does he deal with that hurt? And that's always that when we talk about attachment styles, that's often what I try to summarize it as, is when we are hurt relationally, how do we react? With secure individuals, we tend to react in a way that is healthy and helps us overall. It does not mean that securely attached people don't have problems, because they do. It does not mean that securely attached people don't have conflict or overreactivity, because they do. It just means that on average, overall, they tend to react in a way that helps them and facilitates their attachment needs with other people. With preoccupied people, they have this schema that they're unlovable, or that relationships aren't going to work, or that other people can't be trusted, or that they have to amp up their attachment reactivity in order to get their needs noticed and thus met. And so for preoccupied people, when they're hurt, they will become perhaps overly angry as a way of really trying to signal to the other person, do not ever do this again. Or they will have huge displays of emotion, not as a manipulation, but it's because early in life they developed the neurology. Their brains developed in such a way that it was helpful to them to actually feel feelings bigger. If you ask preoccupied people, they will often report that they feel as though their emotions are bigger than other people are having the emotion, not just their displays, but just how they feel things. And it's possible that it's because they were rewarded as children, very young children, when they did have huge displays of emotion, because it actually managed to get people to notice them. If you're avoidant and you're hurt in a situation like this, then you run. So an avoidant person in this situation might get back on a plane and just go back to the States, or just in their mind say, I'm done with this relationship. I can't believe I'm being treated like this. She clearly doesn't love me. I'm out. Think of a Mike kind of response, that kind of thing, or at least a silent treatment response, a distancing response of some kind. Maybe even reaching out to other women and saying, like, as a way of distancing yourself, I shouldn't identify that. That behavior can be any insecure. attachment style. But if you're disorganized, then you might have a complete emotional meltdown because you are having a massive anxiety attack from the attachment disruption that's happening right now. So that's an oversimplification. There's a lot of other behaviors I could identify, but for the sake of time, let's see what he does.
I don't really know why she's not here like I was expecting. You know, I've been super excited to see Evelin, and sad for leaving home, and I get here and she's not here.
All right, so far I'm just seeing, I would say, a normal, healthy reaction. It hurts, and he's able to. An avoidant person might actually, one, not exhibit the feelings or avoid the feelings, or two, might not even feel the feelings, or might not notice they're feeling the feelings. So he doesn't look avoidant to me, and he hasn't up until this point anyway. And so he doesn't look disorganized because he's not having a massive meltdown. For disorganized folks, they were often terrorized by their attachment figures. And listen to all my episodes on disorganized attachment for more information on that. But so he's feeling the feelings, and it seems to be, and it's hard to know, but it seems to be within normal limits at this point. So we might be looking at mostly secure attachment, maybe with a few toes in the preoccupied camp. Let's watch.
A bus right now. I don't know how safe it is. I've heard stories of people just getting robbed, their bags taken. I heard of people getting on buses with like guns or knives and these different things like that, and they just rob people.
Now, I don't know if that's true in Ecuador. I don't have any knowledge of that, but if we take his word for it, yeah, that would be scary. And again, I'm still not seeing anything abnormal. He's upset, he's frustrated, he's hurt, he's scared of being on his own and not necessarily knowing what bus he's supposed to get on. There's no one there to support him. So, I'm seeing, I think, a healthy reaction to a difficult situation. All right, well, that does it for that episode of Psychology in Seattle. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.